Hello everyone, I'm an Englishman and I'm in Russia, and I've literally just finished applying for a temporary residency permit under the new decree 702, and it was very stressful. However, I'm making this video because many of you have been messaging me asking me how did I do this, and this video will help you guys because I encountered so many struggles or obstacles. I overcome them, and this video is essentially going to be telling you how to not make, not the mistakes that I did, but how to not have any hiccups and discrepancies, because I had so many discrepancies that it made the whole situation very stressful. Second of all, check out this awesome park that I'm in. So to start off with, I've made a list of every single document that you will need unequivocally in order to apply for this residency, because I came here with everything that I needed, which was correct, which is great, but it was when I arrived here that the problems occurred. When I arrived here, I thought I gathered everything, but in fact I didn't, and there was so many more things, so many more documents that I needed, and the documents that you will need to get from your native country have an expiry date. So I had approximately 60 days from when I arrived here to apply, and when I found out that I needed more documents and more translations and so on, it was so stressful, especially when you have a deadline. So this video will absolutely unequivocally help you to come to Russia and apply for this residency, temporary residency, without any issues. So the first thing you need to do in order to come to Russia is to obviously get a 90-day visa. You can do that by contacting the Russian embassy that is in your country, so wherever that will be, England, Bulgaria, or wherever. Literally just contact them, let them know what your intentions are with this visa, and they should give you this visa, this 90-day visa. Obviously you'll have to pay, and you'll probably need to visit the embassy, give them your passport and so on. That thing I can't help you with, because you're going to have to do your own research. Whether you're from France, Germany or Bulgaria, you need to contact the embassy and let them know your intentions. In England, as I am an Englishman, what I can tell you is the same thing. Contact the embassy and they should grant you a 90-day visa, and that'll be enough time, more than enough time, for you to apply for this temporary residency. So that's the first thing you need, which is a 90-day visa. I didn't think I'd need to mention this, but obviously you will need a passport in order to get the visa, so you're going to need your passport, obviously. And once you arrive in Russia, they will give you a migration card. Now this is so important, because if you're out and about and stopped by police and you don't have your migration card on you, there will be big repercussions. And the same goes with your passport. In England, for example, it's easy to go around with your driving license and that will be enough for identification, but in Russia, no, you need your passport. I'm just in the park right now and I've got my passport with me in my bag, just in case, because if you don't, big trouble. And I would recommend to keep your migration card in your passport. The next document you'll need is your birth certificate. Ideally, you would want to get this birth certificate apostilled, which is basically your government saying that this document is authentic, it's real, and we're going to legalize it, essentially. It's the real document. So how do you do that? The only way I can tell you is from my experience as an Englishman. You just simply go on the government website, apostille service document, and then you click on a website and you just click the document that you want to apostille, that you want to legalize, and it's literally as simple as that. You send it to the address and it comes back legalized. The next document you'll need is a criminal records check. This criminal records check needs to be used internationally, so it can't be like a in-house, in-country criminal records check. For example, in the UK, we have a DBS check. That is not satisfactory. They will not be happy with that. You need a ACRO, ACRO criminal records check. So if you're in another country, make sure you can use that criminal records check internationally and you should be fine. However, you need to apostille this document. And don't worry, if you've had a silly violation like speeding, you won't be refused. It's to make sure you're not like a murderous criminal or something like that, okay? So don't worry about that. And all documents that are being apostilled, to my knowledge, have a 90-day expiration period. So what you'd want to do is try and time these certificates and time the flight tickets at the same time. That's what makes it stressful, because I had an issue with my ACRO certificate, because, by the way, you need to translate every single document that's not in Russian. And someone made a mistake at the translation office, and I only had a week left to apply, and that was a big issue, because they made that one mistake and I only had a week left. Thankfully it went well, it was successful. But anyway, that's the scary thing, is that you have limited time, so you need to, as soon as you arrive, apply immediately. I do apologize, at the start of the video I didn't mention that under Decree 702 there are only citizens from specific countries that are allowed to apply. So here's the list, check if your country's on there and you should be fine. By the way, check out these lovely houses. The next document you'll need is a document certifying your residency, so that's just a passport basically. Okay, now I'm going to go through every single document that you'll need to obtain while you're in Russia. Obviously, apart from the migration card that you'll receive at the airport. This is where it becomes a little bit stressful. So once you finally arrive in Russia and leave the airport, you need somewhere to stay. So I'm assuming you'll be at a hotel, or you've rented an apartment beforehand. I would recommend looking online to try and rent an apartment, because staying in a hotel is awfully... I'm not sure if you can hear the wind, but I'm going back home because creating a video is very difficult. Okay, I'm home. I do apologize if any of the audio was unbearable, but let's carry on. So as I was saying, staying in a hotel, at least in Moscow, will be awfully expensive. So I recommend to try and rent an apartment beforehand, try and set an agreement up, because you'll need a document known as a residency notification. This residency notification, if you're staying in a hotel, will be provided by the hotel. So if you decide to stay in a hotel, as soon as you arrive, you need to alert the clerk on reception that you're here under a specific law and you need this residency notification. If you decide to rent an apartment, whoever owns the apartment will need to grant you this residency notification. And getting this residency notification is fairly straightforward. You most likely won't have to do anything, because whoever is in control needs to fill in their information and essentially say that they are allowing you to live in the hotel or the apartment. And that will be uploaded to your account. In Russia they have like a documents account called Gosuslugi, so then you will have a Gosuslugi account. Obtaining that residency notification should be 100% straightforward. I didn't have that, but more often than not it should be fine. Mine just for some reason didn't get processed correctly. So apart from that, it should be 100% okay. The next document you'll need is a Russian health insurance document. I will drop the company down below in the description. Like all of the documents and everything I've referenced today will be in the description, so have a look there. But I'll drop the company that I used because obviously they worked for me without any problems. So check the description. I think they're called Rostgrastach or something. But you then need to buy an insurance just in case anything happens to you. And you will need to obviously present this document when you go to apply. You will also need 4 pictures of your face, like a passport picture. The services are provided here in Russia, so, and it will probably be a little bit cheaper. I paid £2 for 4 photos. So, and it's just a headshot that is needed for, if you are successful, your documents that they'll provide you with afterwards. The next document you'll need is something called, or what I call it, a green card. This green card will be given to you at a police station. So what you need to do is go on to the Gossaslugi website, which is where you'll have your document account. And I understand this sounds a little bit complicated, but please don't hesitate to message me and I can sort of clear a few things up for you. But you'll go on there, make an appointment at your local police station, wherever that will be, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kazan, wherever you go. You'll have to book an appointment there so they can process your fingerprints, your biometric stuff, your name and other information, and they'll give you a green card, which is basically a migrant card, and that's pretty much it. It shouldn't take longer than half an hour, but getting around is a different issue itself, because largely one of the biggest issues for me is obviously I don't have a car. I can drive, but I don't have a car, and my local immigration center is about 1.5 hours away by car, so I had to spend at least 2.5 hours getting there by bus, by train. So hopefully you live nearby to your migration center or your police station. The next document you'll need to obtain is a medical exam, essentially saying that you're healthy and you don't have any diseases and so on. So how you obtain this document is by going to your local migration center, wherever that may be, and they will provide a medical examination. This is to check that you're absent from drugs, sexual diseases. If you have any psychological issues that they need to be aware of, you'll have to pass a blood test, a urine test. They'll check your lungs. Practically the standard procedure of just double checking everything's okay. But that'll be all processed at the medical center. You should then receive those results within a week's time. So just bear this all in mind, that there is a processing time, which is why I'm telling you that once you arrive, you immediately need to get on it and get everything done as soon as possible, because that's what I did. And even I just applied. Literally, it was 1 day left until I could apply, and I applied. That was scratching the deadline, but I had a lot of hiccups. You shouldn't have these hiccups if you follow my steps and follow this advice that I'm giving you. Again, ask questions in the comments, guys. I will respond to them. But when you arrive, it will be stressful, but do it immediately, as soon as you possibly can. Get everything done, because there will be processing times, and when you're at these migration centers, you are going to be waiting for hours, basically. And another point is that when you go to these migration centers, you're not allowed to take anyone with you. If you're coming solo like me, I wasn't allowed anyone with me. You have to learn to speak Russian, but that's not true under this decree 702. You are allowed to hire a translator that can help you go into this migration center and speak Russian with the person that's sorting the documents, and they can actually help you with this process. That's exactly what I did, because I'm still learning Russian, right? So I wouldn't be able to understand anything. So I had a translator that came with me, that helps me process all the documents and so on and so forth. So please remember that you can have a translator when you go to these centers, because it is 100% allowed. Once you finally have all of those documents that I've mentioned, you then need to go and find the local place where you can actually apply under this decree. Again, I don't know where they are in St. Petersburg or in Krasnodar, for example, but in Moscow, where I am, I had to go to Adinsova. And once you go to Adinsova, for example, to apply under this decree, you will then have to pay for a consultation, and they will essentially ask you questions about your close relatives. So that would be your mum, your dad, and your brothers or sisters, if you have any. They will ask where they live, where they work, the address of their work, their names, all the relevant stuff, basically, that they deem relevant. They will write you a couple of pages of documents, essentially saying why you want to apply, and you'll have to pay for that document. So once you get that document, you'll then have to go and apply for an appointment, which will usually be in a week's time. And pretty much once you've got that appointment booked, you go there with all of your documents, all of your translated documents, practically bring everything with you just in case. And it's that easy. But with everything I've told you, I can guarantee that it will be much less stressful, you'll have much less issues, because half of the stuff that I've told you about, that which I needed to obtain in Russia, I had no clue. I had no clue. I had a document from the Bulgarian embassy telling me what I needed, but it didn't have everything. So I literally know everything that you need, everything. So please ask questions. If there's anything you want me to tell you, drop a comment below. I can help you out. So if you do decide to do what I'm doing, I wish you luck. If you do apply, it will take them 4 months for them to reach a decision on whether they will accept you or not. So once you apply, they will give you a document essentially saying, this person has applied under this law, and they will extend your visa, your time of staying. So I'm here until December, so I'm still waiting to find out the result. Wish me luck, fingers crossed, and I wish you luck as well if you come and do the same thing as me. Once you have all the documents that I've mentioned, please, please, please make a copy of every single document that you have. Please make a copy of every single document. I cannot stress that enough. Please make a copy of everything, literally everything. All of the documents that aren't in Russian, i.e. a different language, English, German, for example, you will need to get all of those documents translated. You can do that by going to your local document center, which is called Mai Documenti. I will put a logo up here and the website below where you can essentially find your local Mai Documenti company. Go there, get everything translated, and then copy all of those translations as well. I mean, literally copy everything. You'll probably have a folder, you know, the size of a car, because you just need it. Double check you have everything. I can't stress that enough, because that's where I had so many issues. I hope this video was helpful to you. I've tried to explain everything I can in the best way possible, but like I say, if you have any more questions, drop a comment below. I will be very, very helpful. I've just gone through this whole process. It was very stressful. I had so many issues, but it will benefit you guys if you want to do the same. So drop a comment. I'll try my best, and I will think of trying to work with a company in Russia that handles this migration business, because I know that some people prefer paying a premium service to just have everything streamlined, because I do know some people that have done that. So I didn't do that. Maybe I should have, but I didn't have the money to do that. Anyway, please drop a like on the video. It really helps. Good luck.